Welcome back to You Be the Judge. My guest, Judge Tom Munley.
Thanks, Todd.
Judge, you've talked about a lot of your colleagues, and I appear in front of all of them at one time or another. Now a little bit less than I used to, but we've got a great court.
Oh, Todd, we have a great court. And I'll give you an example. A couple of days ago, I had a very complex case that came to me, and since I've been assigned to a murder case a few months ago, so I'm working on that. And I said, I need a judge to help me on this case. Judge Menorah stepped right up. He said, I'll do it for you. You know, not the murder case, but this very complex civil case. So he's doing it. But that's how we're lucky to have the collegiality that we have in our court system.
You know, Judge Menorah reminds me a little bit about, like Judge Van Aske. He loves technology.
Yeah, and he is good at it.
I can remember long before I knew what a laptop computer was. You'd walk into his chambers and the laptop would be open, and not one screen but two, and he'd be working on a number of things, and that's so important because technology in the courtroom today is so important to the jury, how they learn things.
That's right. I'd love to have our system in common pleas court. That's, for people who are watching, that's the court. I'm president judge of the common pleas, but the federal court, their technology is rampant in their courtrooms, and I'd love to have that in our courtroom someday.
Well, you know, there's in Virginia, the Richmond area, they have what's called the courtroom of the future, and all of the things that are necessary. I mean, there are things that when you're a lawyer, you really wish that there'd been cameras to capture them. 20 years ago, I won't say who I was trying the case in front of, but I'm closing to the jury, and this person is making faces and doing things, and somebody tips me off, and I went up to the judge and complained, but there was no ability to point to a camera to show what was going on that was inappropriate. Today, in federal court, there's a camera there that captures virtually everything that goes on in the courtroom. That's really important.
And Todd, you know, there's been pros and cons about whether or not cameras should be allowed in the courtroom. I'm in favor of it for one reason, because I think the public, a lot of people say to me, well, can I come down and watch the trial? They don't even know they can come to our courthouse and watch a trial. I'm in favor of, let the American people know what trials are all about. Let them know what a criminal case is all about, so they don't even think of doing something of that magnitude. And that's what I'm hoping someday, that our courts are open for cameras.
You know, it's funny, again, when you go back to the early days when we started to practice, the courtrooms were jammed.
They were jammed.
If two lawyers were trying a case that were good lawyers, not only were there 15 or 20 lawyers in the courtroom
just watching and learning,
but there was always, God, I could still remember John Wallace, always in the front row. And I'd ask him halfway through the trial, am I winning or losing, John?
That's right.
You're doing great, kid, but that juror over there is not paying attention to you. You had a focus group of one in the courtroom.
That's right. Todd, let me just say this, and this is in all honesty. I used to watch Todd try cases. I watched his brother Peter try cases. I watched his brother Carlin try cases. And I used to get transcripts of the cases and read them.
And I watched you try cases. I mean, we did. That was the fact of the matter.
That's right.
If a lawyer who had talent was in that courtroom, you wanted to be over there to watch him. And that seems to be lost on lawyers.
Todd, you don't see it anymore.
No.
You don't. And I wish the lawyers will take heed and go in the courtroom, watch lawyers try cases. I noticed that there's not as many cases that are being tried now as when we were young lawyers.
Well, remember they used to have what they called the civil jury trial list. And you'd go in, and it was collegial. The courtroom would be packed. There'd be some lawyers and judge would call 100 cases, and Jones versus Smith continued. Why is it being continued? And everybody'd be kind of joking. And sometimes the judge would force you to try it. Sometimes you wouldn't. But then you knew for 2 weeks there were going to be 4 courtrooms with trials going on all the time. It's become too complex with the way the pleadings go and all of the things that happen in these cases with discovery disputes and all that, to do it that way now. But I guess it was the reason.
That's right.
That it was easier to know when the trials were going on.
And I'm smiling because it brings back a lot of memories, Todd.
Sure.
I can remember the two of us palling around together in the early 70s, and when we were getting ready to try cases, and we'd go out to dinner at night. It was just a great time.
It was a great time, and I think there continues to be a great profession. And
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what some of your plans are for the future.
Well, Todd, what I want to do, Todd told me one day about having a new studio here, and I said to Todd, it has nothing to do with my president judgeship, but it has to do with people should get to know who the judges are in all over the state of Pennsylvania. When I was sworn in as a new lawyer, just on a local station, a smaller station, I interviewed all of the judges in federal court and state court. And Todd, the response was overwhelming. People were calling me saying, can't we do it again? Can't the judges be interviewed again? So I'm hoping that maybe someday I could do something, Todd, because I've worked in television for several years, you know that. And I want to interview the judges. I want to get people to know who they are. Right now, they're just names to people. But let's humanize them and get the people to realize how great the judges are that we have here.
I think that would be terrific, and I hope it comes to fruition. But we've had a lot of judges on our show. Justice McCaffrey from the Supreme Court, Justice Todd from the Supreme Court, Judge Barrace was on when we first had the court. Of course, yourself. We've had the President Judge of Luzerne County on.
Tom Burke.
Yes,
wonderful
tremendous.
man.
Yes.
Wonderful man.
You know, and before we close, I guess it's fair to say that what's happened in the last couple of weeks with the publicity that northeastern Pennsylvania has gotten has been difficult. And I think that's another reason why people have to understand that our judiciary is beyond reproach.
That's a great point. And yes, you're right. There has been a lot of bad publicity in the last couple of weeks, but we're going to overcome that, Todd. That's why I want the people to realize, as you said, we're above reproach. The judges here and most of the judges around, all of the judges around the state that I know of are great judges, and I want to expose the public to what they really are, and they're fantastic judges.
Judge, I hope we can make that show happen, because one of my dreams is with this studio is to make it available so that we can produce shows here that will be quality shows about things that are important to the community. And when we come back from the break, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the other things that you may feel can be done in our judicial system here in Lackawanna County to streamline it and make it a little better for everybody. So
absolutely.
Please stay tuned to You Be the Judge.